Hello everyone, it's Origami. Welcome to What If Naruto Was Adopted by Genma Shiranui, the first part of this series. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Here is the summary. Naruto was adopted by Genma Shiranui and a few people who were close to his dead parents, and they plan on turning Naruto into a proper shinobi. Let's get started. Chapter 1: Adoption. Hokage's Office. That man never changes. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village side. It was a little under 6 years since he returned to being Hokage after the nine-tailed fox appeared in his village and attacked, causing many fine shinobi and civilians their lives. One of those shinobi was Minato Namikaze, who sacrificed his life to seal the fox into his child Naruto at the cost of his life and the life of his wife Kushina Uzumaki. Remembering Naruto and the cruel and he was dealt the night he was born, brought a sigh to his face, since he was the reason for his current annoyance. Danzo Shimura, a man who has long since desired to be Hokage, had been petitioning him to bring young Naruto into his root organization, a shadowy protectorate to the village, in order to abandon it. Even though he should have abandoned Root long ago, the attack meant the village was vulnerable and Danzo's methods were the right thing, even if he truly didn't like them. He was brought from his musing by a flash as a single person appeared in the middle of the room. "Lord Hokage, I'd like to have a word with you," the person said calmly in a clearly female voice. The person had a porcelain mask that resembled a cat's face, and she wore the standard uniform of the Hokage's forces, the ANBU Black Ops, black and gray armor, metal arms guards, and she had a katana strapped to her back. A pair of black ninja pants and black ninja sandals with a kunai holster on her left leg finished the unique outfit. "Nico, this is highly unusual," the third Hokage admitted. Nico was the current captain of the ANBU and was one of the ninjas who guarded him at all times, even in his office. "It's about your conversation with Danzo," the now named Nico replied nervously. Danzo was a sour subject for the third, so she was taking a risk. "What about it?" The third glared. "I believe he may actually be onto something. When it comes to Naruto, I mean." Yugo said calmly, but paused because she could feel the third's killing intent slowly rising. "Choose your next words carefully, Nico," the third warned. He was already in a bad mood, and hearing his captain agree with his arch-rival was not going to help that mood. "Well, Lord Hokage, Danzo wants to bring Naruto into root because he could turn the fox into a weapon for the village." "I'm aware of that," the third said impatiently. "Well, what if we give him special training, just not from Danzo?" Nico said with a smile. The third looked intrigued but wary. "What are you suggesting, Nico?" The third asked again. He could understand weaponizing Naruto, but he got the sense Nico wasn't suggesting that. "As you know, once he turns 6 next month, Naruto will reach the point when the orphanage he's staying at isn't obligated to keep him around. I have reason to believe that the caretaker has every intention of kicking him onto the street after that," Nico said calmly. "And why do you think that?" the third asked curiously and nervously. The fact that she knew about those details was disturbing, and he needed to know more. "Well, the former members of Team Ro along with Genma Shiranui have been watching Naruto for years in secret when we're not on duty. We've seen the way he's treated, and it's not good. Admittedly, I've had to stop Dog and Weasel from attacking the caretaker on multiple occasions," Yugo said nervously, since this was a dangerous admission. The third was caught off guard by the new revelation due to the people who were watching Naruto and what they told him. Team Ro was an elite squad of ANBU under the 4th Hokage, and Genma Shiranui was a member of the 4th Hokage's guard squad. For them to watch over Naruto wasn't a shock, since most of the members loved the 4th and they knew how much he was looking forward to becoming a father. Hearing that the caretaker abused him was equally unpleasant, and he would have to look into that later. However, he realized what Nico was after and he wasn't against it. "I take it you want to adopt him, Nico?" the third questioned. "Not quite, sir. What I was suggesting is that Genma Shiranui adopt him. The others would eventually meet him under the guise of being Genma's friends and help him train and gain the skills he would have had if his upbringing was normal. I personally owe Kushina-sensei my life, and you know how much the 4th meant to Dog. Helping their son is the least we could do to honor them, especially since we feel like we failed," Nico admitted. The third couldn't help but smile, and he got the feeling that this discussion had been a long time coming. The truth was, he always felt guilty about leaving Naruto like that, and given what he learned about the caretaker, the idea of him living on the street was not a pleasant one. He would be at the mercy of the village. An actual ninja could do some serious harm. This way he would get training and be safe from harm at the same time. I agree, but Genma lives in a single apartment. Are you sure that's wise? The third replied curiously. About that, Nico said nervously, since this was the hardest part of all, at least given the plan the group had been discussing ever since they first noticed the abuse. We were thinking that he could live in his father's compound. It would allow him to have a proper home, and we would make sure to take care of his needs there. We could control the villager reactions by having him seen with us for a long time. The villagers are scared, but they aren't fools. Nico finished. The third was surprised by the suggestion, and it was an excellent one given the circumstances. The compound was his birthright, and ensuring that everything the fourth had was safe was something he'd gladly approve of. The fact that they requested it this way meant the civilian council couldn't complain. Naruto would be safe and getting proper training. More importantly, Danzo would get off his back. The answer was obvious. Very well, Nico. I'll draw up the paperwork for you to make it official. I assume you'll continue your duties as captain even while you're helping him. Yes. Genma will be his primary caregiver, and we'll visit when we can. I know it'll be difficult at first, but for Sensei it's worth it. Nico said happily. The third couldn't be happier, and in truth he agreed. Naruto would be safe, and they would watch over him for as long as required. He could even get Jiraiya involved in secret, but that was another matter. Thank you for this conversation, and you're dismissed so you can tell the others the news. The third said proudly. With Naruto safe and watched by the ANBU, he was sure to become a fine ninja. By the way, you can tell him who his parents are when you feel he's ready. If he's anything like his father, he'll figure you guys out soon enough, the third warned. Of course, Lord Hokage. Nico approved. They were going to do it eventually anyway, but at least this way they had permission. With the business over, Nico left in a flash to tell the others. 18 months later. A now 7.5-year-old Naruto Uzumaki woke up from his warm bed and couldn't help but smile at how wonderful his life was now. Just before his 6th birthday, he was taken in by a man named Genma Shiranui, who brought him to his home, a massive compound where he had everything a young boy could want. Apparently, Genma family died in the nine-tailed fox attack, and his friends convinced him to adopt somebody after watching him suffer for a long time. Those friends were Kakashi Hatake, Itachi Uchiha, and a woman named Yuga Yuzuki. Naruto wanted to take the man's last name, but he insisted that he keep his original name. It was odd, but he wasn't about to say no since he had a proper home now. Making his way over to his closet, Naruto chose his outfit for the day. Unlike most people, who seem to have one outfit only with hundreds of copies, Naruto had a variety of outfits, but two of them stood out. The first was a skin-tight blue shirt worn below a black zip-up jacket that had a small bit of orange on the shoulders and black ninja pants. The orange was in homage to the jumpsuit he wore in the orphanage, which was now his pajamas. His second outfit was a gray tracksuit with black stripes along the side and a small hood. He saw it in a clothes shop and couldn't help but pick it out. He did notice a small smile appear on Ganma's face when he chose it, which made the decision even more perfect, and he paired both with black shinobi sandals. Time to do my morning workout, Naruto smiled as he took off his old jumpsuit and picked out the first outfit, which was typically his training clothes. That workout right now was 200 push-ups, 200 crunches, and a small jog around his new home. He needed to make sure he was ready for today. Kakashi and Yuga were coming to visit to continue his training. Scene skip. So Naruto, have you been keeping up with your training? Kakashi smiled as he and Naruto sat at the training ground. Kakashi was a friendly young man with spiky silver hair who dressed in what Naruto was told was the standard Jonin outfit. His most notable feature was the blindfold on his right eye, which Naruto never asked about out of respect. Yes, I have, and I've been working on that jutsu you gave me for my birthday. Naruto replied, still dressed in his workout clothes since he was going to be training. Alright, show me. Kakashi smiled happily. Naruto put his fingers together in a cross and shouted, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Before long, 10 copies of Naruto appeared dressed and ready to train. When he turned 7, Ganma agreed to start helping him as he prepared to enter the ninja academy, and they figured out one thing very quickly: he was never going to be able to use the clone jutsu because he had a massive amount of chakra and no control. To alleviate that, Kakashi taught him the shadow clone jutsu in exchange. Good, and now that you're ready, it's time to really kick up your training. Kakashi smiled before reaching into his pocket and grabbing a small piece of paper. What's this? Naruto wondered. It's called chakra paper. If you touch it, you'll be able to learn what nature you are, and it'll make the next part of the training much easier. Kakashi smiled. Okay, Naruto smiled, grabbing the paper. He was shocked to see the paper get cut up before each piece became slightly damp. Is that supposed to happen? It's perfectly fine, Naruto. This means that you have a wind-style nature with a slight water-style one. If the paper had crinkled, that would have meant you had a lightning-style nature. If it burned, you had fire, and if it crumbled slightly, you'd have earth. So what nature are you, Kakashi? Naruto smiled. I'm mainly lightning, but I know a whole lot of jutsu. In fact, I'm going to use the shadow clones to teach you those jutsu now. Huh? Naruto said in confusion. When shadow clones dispel, the real you will learn everything the clone does. Kakashi explained, causing Naruto's eyes to light up. So that means I can learn a wind jutsu, a water jutsu, and work on sealing with at the same time. Naruto smiled. Another gift he got for his 7th birthday was a book on sealing from Yugo. She said that it's difficult, but she thought he could handle it. That's right, but they don't gain physical traits, which means you have to work on those alone. That's fine. Itachi taught me a cool kunai exercise, and we even made a small field for that. So I'll go there. Perfect. Yugo should be here shortly, so we'll get started soon also. Kakashi smiled before making the same hand signs. Naruto was surprised that only 2 clones appeared. Hey Kakashi, why can you only make 2 clones? Naruto wondered innocently. Don't worry about it. Just make sure you're focused on your training. Scene skip. When Yugo arrived, she took the real Naruto away and brought her off the compound and into town. An underrated ninja talent is the art of kenjutsu, or swordplay, and I'm going to teach you about it, but first I need to get you a sword. Yugo smiled as they walked towards what was supposed to be the local weapons store, with Naruto dressed in the hoodie. Yugo was a beautiful woman with long purple hair, big brown eyes, and a bit of red lipstick. Her outfit was odd to Naruto since it was different from the Jonin outfit, but Yugo told him not to worry about it the first time they met. Cool. Will I get something like what you have, Yugo? Naruto wondered. Maybe. It'll depend on what you're comfortable with. Yugo replied. I see, Naruto replied as they approached the store. Walking in, Naruto was immediately struck by all the weapons that were placed throughout the building. He was so distracted by the weapons that he didn't see somebody slam into him, tossing him to the ground on his back. He mentally groaned because there was only one person who did that with him. It's been a while, Tenten. I guess you got adopted by a blacksmith. Naruto smiled as he looked up and saw his only friend from the orphanage. She was a young woman with slightly tanned skin, brown eyes, and brown hair that she kept in a pair of buns. Her current outfit was a pink sleeveless cheapao-style blouse with red sleeve trimmings, yellow fastening buttons, and dark green pants. Her kunai pouch was on her thigh, and she had a pair of blue sandals. I couldn't help it. I haven't seen you in 2 years, and I guess I got excited. Tenten said happily. She truly missed Naruto after she left. Yeah, but if you don't mind, I'm kinda here to buy a sword. Can you get off me for a second? Naruto said bashfully. Tenten wasn't as small as she was back then, and it was a bit awkward for him having her body pressed against him. Her slowly developing body. Tenten realized how close they were and quickly got off before turning away so Naruto couldn't see her blush. Sorry about that, Naruto? Tenten said bashfully. It's fine, Naruto replied, getting up calmly, unaware of the blush that adorned his best friend's face. Now that you two are done catching up, I guess it's time for business. Yugo smiled warmly, having seen said blush. Yeah, Tenten said hastily before taking them to the section of the store with the swords. So what type of blade are you looking for? Tenten wondered. The pair had discussed weapons a lot back at the orphanage, so she knew that Naruto was aware of types. Naruto paused for a moment before remembering something. How about a katana? My style needs something light that'll get the job done, Naruto suggested. Style, Yugo wondered. I was learning about my nature with Kakashi this morning and he said I was wind and water. That means I need something with cutting power for wind, but for water I need something that's light and quick-based, Naruto revealed. Tenten and Yuga were shocked for different reasons. Yugo because he understood so much so quickly, and Tenten because Naruto made the job much easier. Looks like you've done your research. Tenten smiled before looking for something for Naruto. She quickly found a 70-centimeter black katana with gray grip. That looks awesome, Naruto replied, happily grabbing it, and after the two girls gave him some space, took a few swings. Looks perfect, Yuga smiled. Yeah. Naruto smiled before thinking of something. Hey Tenten, since you like weapons and Yugo is going to teach me, how about she teaches you also? Both women were shocked once again, but Tenten smiled. I would love to, but I'm busy at the Ninja Academy. I don't know if I'll have time, Tenten frowned. Naruto frowned since he knew how Tenten envied Tsunade and that she would want to focus on her studies as much as possible. How about this? You go to the academy and play with Naruto during the weekend. I'm sure you'll have plenty of time that way, Yuga suggested, catching him and Tenten off guard. Are you sure? Tenten asked nervously. Yes, and I doubt Naruto will disagree. That works fine for me, Naruto nodded. Then let's do it. Tenten smiled. A partnership was born and Naruto had a new blade. Overall, it was a great day. 4 months later. Things with Naruto were looking bright over the last 4 months. His reunion with Tenten finally gave him somebody his age to talk to, and although Tenten was in the academy a lot, they spoke during the weekend. They trained together and it was like nothing had changed, and today was going to be a rare moment of excitement for the young blonde. For a reason that Naruto didn't understand before, he wasn't allowed to really go in the village alone, but his training was going well and he convinced his uncle to let him try just once. When he initially refused, Naruto brought out the puppy dog eyes technique, something Tenten taught him recently, and he gave in. His first stop on his trip was at Chirako Ramen, a small place that Genma brought him to on occasion. Naruto appreciated the calm old man and he would admit that his daughter was cute also, but he never said anything since it might make things awkward at the store. After that, he decided to walk around the village, but that's when his good mood vanished. Die demon brat, somebody shouted, and Naruto had to dodge a tomato that was thrown at him from out of nowhere. As his walk continued, he was shouted at multiple times and had things thrown at him each time. He brushed it off for the moment, but it was something he would talk with his uncle about later. When he arrived at the local park to play, he was determined to make friends, but then he saw something that caused his already bad mood to sour. 3 guys had ganged up on a single girl, and from the looks of it they were bullying her. The girl was wearing a light orange kimono with sandals, and she had dark blue hair and a bob cut and white eyes that were otherwise featureless. What's with those eyes, you freak? The largest boy said cockily, and Naruto snapped. Leave her alone. Naruto shouted towards the group, and the 3 boys who were talking to the girl simply turned their focus towards him. So you want to help the freak too? Ha, I bet you're a freak like her, the largest boy said cockily. He was a tall boy with dark brown hair and black eyes. He was wearing a simple beige shirt and matching pants. Naruto twitched and decided that he was going to teach these guys a lesson. Putting his fingers in a familiar hand sign, he smiled. Shadow clone jutsu and 10 Narutos appeared at his side. What the boy said nervously. His 2 buddies quickly fled seeing the clones, and Naruto smiled viciously. So are you going to leave her alone, or do I have to introduce you to my friends? Naruto smiled as he cracked his knuckles. It's okay. I'll get going, the boy said, and he fled just like that. Phew, Naruto said with relief as he dispelled the clones and walked towards the girl. He really didn't want to fight and he was glad it all worked out. Thank you, the girl said timidly. It was obvious that she was shy. No problem. It's nice to meet you, by the way, Naruto said calmly before extending his hand. I'm Naruto, what's your name? Hinata. Hinata Hyuga, the now-named girl replied. Is there somebody I can take you to? I don't want those guys coming back and getting any more ideas. Naruto said warmly. Hinata stammered, but Naruto didn't need to wait long before the problem took care of itself. Lady Hinata, are you alright? An older man with long brown hair said nervously. He was wearing a long white kimono and had the same eyes as Hinata along with a leaf headband. Yes, I am Ko. This young man helped me, Hinata said with a slight amount of courage. The man turned to Naruto and flinched briefly, something noticed by Naruto and Hinata before saying, "We should get going, Lady Hinata." The now-named Ko scowled. Okay, Hinata stammered again, and they left with Ko giving him a very dirty look. He'd been around with Ganma and Yugo before, but he never saw the looks he saw today. Plus there was the fact that he never got to go out until now. Something was very wrong and he would have to go to his adopted uncle for help. Scene skip. Later that night, Naruto was sitting down at the table with Ganma for company. Ganma had brown shoulder-length hair and he always had a sunbon in his mouth. It was an odd habit, but Naruto didn't mind. Like Kakashi, Ganma wore the Jonin outfit most of the time. Uncle Gonma, can I ask you something? Naruto said calmly. For some odd reason he also wanted to be called Uncle Gonma despite adopting him. Again, Naruto was okay with it. Sure, Naruto, what's up? Why would the villagers call me Demon Brat? Naruto said calmly, and Ganma nearly choked on their meal. Naruto frowned because he had a feeling Ganma knew exactly why. After gathering himself, Ganma tried to look calm before asking, "Who called you that?" "A few people actually, and I get the feeling you know why." Naruto frowned. Ganma scowled since he knew this day would come the minute Naruto was on his own. He hoped the village would calm down, but clearly it hadn't. "I do, but I'm not sure if I can tell you yet," Ganma admitted. "So it's some dark secret about me?" Naruto frowned. "That's right, but I'll make you a deal. I signed you up for the Ninja Academy like your friend 1010, but even though you're not 8 until a month after it starts, I was able to get you in," Ganma said with a smile. Naruto enjoyed the news, but he wasn't going to let this go. "That's fine, but what about the secret?" Naruto replied impatiently. "I want to make sure that you're ready, and seeing how you behave at the academy will go a long way towards that. So I'll tell you on your 8th birthday," Ganma said calmly. Naruto hated it, but that made sense. Deal, Naruto agreed. He would get his answers. "Good, because your life is about to get complicated." Ganma frowned. After that, the pair sat down for dinner, and although it was silent, it was obvious that things were about to change. Whether it was for the better was to be determined. 1 month later. After a tense month, Naruto was finally ready to join the Ninja Academy himself, and he was nervous and excited at the same time. He ultimately decided to wear his gray tracksuit since it was more comfortable, but he was sleeping his blade a secret. He was currently standing outside the home waiting for Kakashi, who would be taking him to school, and he was ready to go. Kakashi soon appeared with his usual smile. "Hello Naruto, are you ready for school?" Kakashi smiled. "Yeah," Naruto said happily. Kakashi smiled before his expression changed slightly. "Before we go, there's a place I'd like to take you," Kakashi said calmly. "Okay," Naruto said calmly, and Kakashi put his hand on Naruto's shoulder before vanishing with a shunshin. The place they appeared was the Leaf Village's memorial stone, a large pillar that had the names of ninja who fell in war. After giving Naruto a second to gather himself, he turned towards the young blonde. "Do you want to know why I brought you here, Naruto?" Kakashi wondered. "No," Naruto admitted. "The Leaf Village has been peaceful for a long time, but it wasn't always that way. When I was your age, I was already a Chunin and went on many missions, and when I was 12 years old, I was involved in war. That war cost me 2 of my teammates, one of whom gave me my Sharingan." Kakashi smiled before pointing to his hidden eye. "Why are you telling me this?" Naruto wondered. "I'm telling you this because I want you to take the academy seriously. It will be boring at times and it will drive you crazy, but the things that you learn will help you even if they're stupid," Kakashi instructed. "Okay," Naruto replied. Kakashi was his top tutor, and if he was telling him that, Naruto would be willing to listen. One more thing, because it will be important. Among your classmates is Itachi's younger brother Sasuke. I want you to do everything you can to become his friend. Kakashi said calmly. Why? Naruto wondered. Just do it. Kakashi said with a sterner expression this time. Fine, I will. Geez, Uncle Ganma's hiding something. Now you. Naruto frowned. The secrets were getting annoying as far as he was concerned. Kakashi sighed because he knew this was a sore subject for Naruto, and even though he had behaved over the last month, it was obvious that what happened bothered him. Listen, Naruto. The world is a cruel place, which is something a lot of us learned the hard way. To be honest, for Ganma Yugo Itachi and even me, you're a bright spot. Please Naruto, no matter what happens, don't stop being that bright spot that makes everything better for everyone around you. Kakashi seemed to plead. All right, Kakashi. Naruto smiled since he knew the man never pleaded for anything. Now let's get going. I'm sure you'll have plenty of other people to talk to besides Sasuke. I hear that a certain pale-eyed girl will also be there also. Kakashi smiled. How do you? Naruto said in shock, since he was pretty sure nobody knew about his encounter with Hinata. I know a few things, Kakashi smiled, but before Naruto could reply, Kakashi took him in another shunshin towards the school. Scene skip. Lunchtime arrived on his first day of class, and during the short time he'd be in school, two things were made very clear to him. One was that school would be really boring since the teacher only spoke about things that Naruto didn't really care for. Ganma and his friends taught him plenty already, and all he really needed was the practice against the other ninja. The fact he couldn't use shadow clones or most of his techniques was annoying, but there was nothing he could do. The other thing that stood out to Naruto was the number of ninjas that were from major clans in his class. In order to get Ganma to let him go outside those months ago, he had to read a book on the major families in the Leaf Village. In addition to Hinata and Sasuke, there was a girl named Ino from the Yamanaka clan. A guy named Choji from the Akimichi clan. Another guy named Shikamaru from the Nara clan. Shino from the Aburame clan, Kiba from the Inazuka clan, and Yakumo from the Kurama clan. Yugao made him read up on the major clans of the Leaf Village, saying that it's not just about what you know but also who you know. Naruto found it odd, but Yugao never steered him wrong either. As the kids moved to find spots to eat, he made his way towards Hinata, who was talking with Yakumo. Hey there Hinata, you want to eat lunch together? Naruto said warmly. Hinata looked up and saw Naruto, but before she could reply she was beaten to the punch. How do you know Hinata? Yakumo said almost defensively. Yakumo had long brown hair with matching brown eyes. Her most notable feature was Yakumo's large forehead, but Naruto didn't say anything. She was wearing a simple dark blue long-sleeved jacket that was zipped up along with black pants and ninja sandals. I helped her with some bullies a month ago. I wanted to be her friend, but I haven't been able to go outside since then, Naruto admitted. That was you? Yakumo said in shock. She and Hinata were friends through their shared mentor. After what happened at the park, Hinata told her mentor about the encounter, and her mentor reached out, discovering that they'd be classmates at the academy, which made Hinata cheer up. Of course she wasn't going to tell Naruto about that. Yeah. Naruto said, bashfully sure of what he had done or hadn't done. Can we eat lunch now? Hinata said timidly. No doubt she wanted to change the subject. Fine by me. I'm hungry. Naruto smiled, understanding that Hinata really didn't want to talk about this. The group proceeded to eat lunch together, and he learned about the two girls. Yakumo wanted to be a ninja, but she had issues with her body that nobody could explain. Those issues meant that she wasn't likely to become a ninja, but she insisted on joining the academy anyway. As for Hinata, she was the heiress of the main branch of the Hyuga clan, and her father was pretty harsh in his training. Yakumo didn't hide her distaste for the man, and Naruto got the sense that there was a story behind it. When it was time for Naruto to reveal his story, he did so, and the two girls were both surprised to learn that he was adopted. Hey Naruto, why don't you call yourself Naruto Shiranui? Yakumo wondered. Uncle Ganma insisted I keep the last name Uzumaki and only call him Uncle Ganma. I never understood why, but I just ran with it. Naruto replied. I see, Yakumo said with a strange glance. Is there something wrong? Naruto wondered. Yakumo realized she was staring at, tried to dismiss it. No, you're fine. Yakumo said hastily. Okay, Naruto said with a curious glance. Well, he would worry about it later. He had 2 new friends and that was good enough. Scene skip. 2 weeks had passed and school was going exactly as Naruto would have liked. He spent most of his time with Yakumo and Hinata, but he did speak to some of the other heirs when he got a chance. Shikamaru and Shoji were fun, but they were content to just relax, and Naruto accepted that but let them be. Shino was silent in Naruto, and they got along because he thought it was cool that Shino had bugs inside him. He really didn't like Ino or Kiba since each was a loudmouth in their own way. Then of course there was Sasuke. At first, they didn't get along because Itachi trained him and not his own brother. Naruto asked Itachi why and discovered it was because he wanted Sasuke to be his own man. When he told Sasuke that, they became friends and both were determined to become as strong as Itachi was. Finally was Hinata and Yakumo, who were his closest female friends aside from Tenten, who occasionally came to visit them. So guys, my birthday is in 2 weeks and my uncle Genma is hosting a party at his compound. Naruto smiled as he sat with Yakumo, Hinata and Sasuke during a shared lunch. So who's coming? Yakumo wondered. Well, Uncle Genma is going to have some friends who have helped me and I was thinking of inviting you guys, Shikamaru, Choji, Shino and Tenten. Naruto smiled happily. Ah, Naruto, what about me? Ino interrupted, causing him to frown. Ino had fair skin with blue eyes and short blonde hair. Her outfit was a pink hooded sweatshirt with a purple skirt that was tied up by a black cord and sandals. Well, I don't like you, so you're not invited, Naruto said harshly. Ino had a very bad attitude and thought herself a queen of sorts. She did get along with Sakura Haruno, one of the few civilians who actually seemed interesting, but otherwise she was just a pain. That's cruel, Naruto. Don't tell me you're inviting dog breath. Ino replied haughtily, referring to Kiba Inuzuka, a young man with messy brown hair and sharp black eyes with slit-like pupils. His outfit was an olive V-neck with red trim and brown pants. With Kiba was a white dog named Akamaru that was basically his partner. It was an Inuzuka thing, so Naruto didn't care. You realize that's why Naruto doesn't like you, Ino? Yakumo scoffed. Whatever, Ino huffed and walked away. I don't like her very much, Sasuke spoke up. Not many do. She might not be as bad as some of the girls in the school, but she's up there. Personally, I pity Sakura for dealing with her, Yakumo said coldly. Be nice, Hinata said calmly. Their group dynamic helped her with her confidence, and she was beginning to open up to others, but she was still ways away. As far as Naruto was concerned, that was a beautiful thing, and in due time she would be as bright as the others. Well, let's worry about Ino later. I'm really excited for this party and I know it's going to be awesome, Naruto said happily. He'd been waiting for the party the whole time for multiple reasons, but mainly because of what his uncle promised. His shinobi career was important, but his family was equally so, and he was tired of the secrets. Chapter 2: Shinobi Secrets. Unknown area. A groggy Naruto found himself in the middle of a strange hallway. The room was yellow all around with narrow walls, and above him was a group of massive circular pipes that seemed to lead somewhere. Where am I? Naruto wondered. As he got up, he looked down and realized he was in his training outfit, which was strange since he swore that he was in his pajamas. Realizing he needed to find his way around, Naruto decided to follow the pipes, figuring it would lead him to something that might tell him where he is or what was the odd sensation he had. Eventually, he made his way to a large room that seemed to reach the sky with a massive cage in front of him. He couldn't tell what was in the cage because it was pitch black, but the odd sensation from before was practically screaming at him, as though something incredibly dangerous was around him. I'm surprised you were able to access this place. Isn't this interesting? A voice said ominously from behind the cage. WH. Who are you? Naruto wondered. Who I am is not important. What is important is what I know. Since I don't know where I am or who you are, how am I supposed to know if what you know is important? You have a point. So how about I give you a small test? The voice replied. I've had enough tests for my liking from school. Naruto deadpanned. Yes, but I know you're intelligent and this test will give you some of the answers you seek if you think carefully. All right. So, what's this test? Naruto frowned. He didn't know what was going on, but this voice gave him the answers he sought out. When you go to take your shower, look into the mirror and focus your chakra. When you do, you'll notice something very interesting. Naruto frowned because this felt like a trap. When I notice this interesting thing, what should I do? Naruto wondered. It wouldn't be much of a test if I gave you all the answers. Let's just say this is a starting point, the voice replied. Naruto scowled because the voice was right. Alright, but I don't like it. By the way, how do I get out of here? Naruto frowned. Simply open your eyes. This is a dream after all. The voice replied. Naruto frowned but focused his mind and seemed to vanish from sight. You are truly interesting, boy. Let's see what you do with my little test. The test of the nine-tailed fox, the now named fox said happily, and a large set of red eyes and a pair of sharp teeth appeared in the shadows. Naruto's room. Naruto opened his eyes after the bizarre dream and found himself back in his simple room. He had an extra large twin bed, which always felt large, but he was okay with it since he didn't need to change his bed anytime soon. On the bed were ocean blue sheets with the red quinoa swirl all around. Getting up, he went towards his particularly large dresser which had multiple copies of his outfits, but as he went to grab his training clothes remembered the odd advice he received earlier in the morning. I wonder, Naruto thought to himself as he made the decision to walk over to his bathroom which was right next to the room. Genma had his own bathroom which suited him fine. His bathroom had a full-length mirror next to the simple sink and a massive shower with the showerhead above him which Naruto enjoyed because he liked the feel of water cascading down his body. Undressing quickly, he walked over to the mirror and focused his chakra as requested by the weird voice. When he did, he was shocked to see a seal appear on his stomach. What the hell, Naruto shouted. Luckily for him, it wasn't loud enough to wake Genma, but his focus quickly returned to the seal. It had a swirl in the middle with 8 marks set up A and 10-11 o'clock, which meant it was from the 8 trigram sealing style. What's odd is that he would have remembered if Genma or one of the others put a seal on him, which they had not. It was yet another secret to ask his adopted uncle about, but he had other matters to focus on. After all, today was his birthday. Scene skip. A smiling Naruto sat in his family's living room with Hinata, Yakumo, Sasuke, Tenten, Shikamaru and Choji as they relaxed. The massive room was mostly free space with a large dark brown circular table in the middle with a large light brown couch on the right side for people to relax in and a series of smaller matching chairs at the top and bottom of the table creating a free space on the left. Since they wanted to be around one another right now, Naruto moved the smaller chairs away. An idea which was fine, since Choji seemed comfortable sitting on the couch and eating chips while Shikamaru sat next to his friend trying to nap. Shikamaru had spiky black hair that's usually tied in a ponytail and lazy black eyes. His outfit was in a gray shirt with blue on the edge of the sleeves and a gold circle in the middle with what Naruto discovered was the Nara clan symbol. Choji was a gentle boy with spiky brown hair and 2 red swirls on his cheek. He was big, which was a trait most of his clan shared, but he was nice. He wore a green zip sweater with a green stripe across the middle with brown pants and shinobi sandals. The rest of their group was on the floor with Naruto, Tenten and Sasuke wearing their typical outfits. You're pretty good at this, Naruto. Yakumo smiled as they played shogi with Hinata next to her and Naruto across from the pair with Tenten and Sasuke flanking him. Instead of her usual outfit, she was dressed in a pink kimono held closed by a pink sash with 2 pockets on the front with red mesh armor underneath. She also had some violet baggy pants underneath the kimono, at least according to her. Hinata was dressed in a white kimono that looked really good on her. I play sometimes with Uncle Genma, but he's way better than I am, Naruto admitted. What's the point of playing a game like shogi? Sasuke dismissed. Being a shinobi isn't about just being strong and having strong jutsu. It's about being smart also and knowing which jutsu to use. Shogi helps you learn strategy. I've been playing for years, Shikamaru chastised. Fair enough. Sasuke gave in. Shikamaru was even smarter than Naruto, and if he swore by shogi, there was no way to dismiss it. Hey Naruto, can I ask you something? Yakumo wondered, causing everyone to focus on the birthday boy for a moment instead of Yakumo's impending loss. Sure, Naruto said calmly. He had a bad feeling about the question but gave in anyway. When I asked my family about coming to your party, they were nervous for some reason. They asked how I knew you and why I was invited. It actually took me a while to convince them to let me come. Yakumo admitted. My father was hesitant at first, but after I told him a little bit, he said it was all right. Hinata said shyly. I don't know why they'd hesitate, but they didn't, and you're here. I say we focus on that. Naruto frowned. Hinata didn't say as much, but her mentor also wanted to stay and watch us, but Yugo insisted that everything would be okay. Something really stunk about all of this. Good point, Yakumo replied, deciding to shelve the subject for later. Something felt wrong with the whole thing, but she wanted to enjoy the moment since she and Hinata both bonded with Naruto in their short time together. They were about to return to the game when Ichiraku walked in. Ayam had fair skin with long brown hair and big black eyes. She was currently wearing a white robe with the sleeves folded and a dark blue apron, her typical outfit at Ichiraku Ramen, a place she worked at alongside her father. The few times Naruto did go out to eat, he would go to Ichiraku's, and he loved his ramen. Sorry to interrupt guys, but dinner will be ready soon. Ayam smiled. Thanks, Ayam. Naruto said politely, and it was soon time for dinner. Scene skip. Dinner was over and it was time for presents. Most of Naruto's gifts were pretty simple, but Kakashi gave him his gift and convinced him to open it later, something Naruto would do because it was Kakashi asking. Right now, Naruto was on the way to the den in order to discuss the fox issue with his uncle since it was a major part of the day. Arriving at the den, Naruto was surprised to see that not only was Uncle Genma here but also Yugao, Kakashi and Itachi. Did you enjoy your birthday, Naruto? Genma said calmly. Yes, I did. However, that's not why we're here. Naruto said with a firm tone. He wanted answers. Genma could only smile since it showed Naruto was serious. That's right, but before I answer that, there are a few things you need to know. Naruto was slightly surprised by this but kept his cool. All right, Naruto acknowledged. The first thing I need to tell you is that Yugao, Itachi, Kakashi and I aren't actually old friends. Itachi, Kakashi and Yugo were part of an elite unit of ANBU Black Ops that worked under the 4th Hokage known as Team Ro. I was one of the 4th bodyguards, which is why we knew each other, but saying we interacted was a bit of a stretch. What does that have to do with me? Naruto wondered. It's because your real father is the 4th Hokage, Naruto, and your mother was woman named Kushina Uzumaki. Genma revealed. That makes no sense. Why would they treat the son of a Kage so poorly? Naruto said in shock. I'll get to that shortly, but this is just the beginning. Genma said sternly. As you know, the nine-tailed fox attack was the same day as your birthday. What you don't know is that there's a very specific reason that the fox attacked that night, and it's connected to your mother. A pit of dread appeared on Naruto's face because of what he was suggesting. You're not saying that me being born was why the fox attacked? Naruto said in shock. Yes and no. However, the fact you made that connection is impressive, Itachi said calmly as he took control. Most people weren't aware of this, but before it attacked, the fox was sealed inside your mother. It wasn't a big deal and she lived a relatively normal life. However, getting pregnant with you changed things. Apparently, when a female Jinchuriki gets pregnant, the seal weakens due to her body having to divert energy to your growing body. The decision was made to isolate your mother when it was time for your birth, and a group of shinobi, including Team Ro, was assigned to watch in case something happened. Tragically, it did. Itachi finished. What happened? A man wearing an orange swirl mask with a single eye hole managed to get past the guards and kidnapped you just after you were born. He quickly surrounded you with exploding tags to paralyze the 4th Hokage. Using you as a hostage, he managed to summon the fox. Summon the fox. Naruto gasped, not expecting that. Itachi revealed his Sharingan before continuing, correct. He used a special power that belongs to the Sharingan to rip the fox out of your mother and use it to attack the village. He attacked on the opposite side from where I was, so we never saw him until it was too late. What happened to me? Naruto said shakily. After he summoned the fox, the man fought the fourth Hokage and left you alone. Your father eventually won against the stranger, but now he had another problem to deal with. He had to defeat the fox, Naruto answered. That's right, but doing so was far easier said than done. The fox is a massive source of chakra, and even at his full power, it would be a Herculean task for your father. Itachi said calmly. Then what happened to? Naruto started to say before his eyes widened as he remembered the seal on his stomach and an interesting fact about the 8 trigram sealing style. The fox was sealed inside me, wasn't he? Naruto smiled. Correct. Yuga took over. Your mother was my sensei, and that's why I know a few things about her that nobody else does. Among those things is the fact that her family, and by extension yours, was once an extraordinarily powerful clan. I have a clan. Naruto gasped, having been dealt another blow to his system. Correct. The Uzumaki clan lived in the now destroyed Whirlpool village, and they were known for 2 things: their incredible chakra, and 2 was their mastery of the art of sealing. That chakra made your mother the perfect person to host the fox, and as her son you have that same chakra. Yugao explained. It was also why she was comfortable giving Naruto the book on sealing and why they taught him shadow clones, but that was another matter. Is that why you adopted me? Because you wanted to monitor the fox. Naruto said almost solemnly. His real mom and dad were dead, and it seemed like his uncle was only here to make sure that their last act in sealing the fox wasn't in vain. It actually the opposite, Naruto. There are other reasons, but the main one was because of the fact that your parents were important to each of us. In my case, your father was my teacher, and after my own father killed himself after a failed mission, your father supported me and became a father figure of sorts. Yuga spoke next. Like I said before, your mother was my sensei and helped me become the shinobi I was today. I was part of a rival team, but I admired your father, and when he chose me to be part of his guard, I saw what everybody else did in him. Genma praised. I knew the man in passing, but like the others, I saw what an amazing man he was. Itachi admitted. We thought the world of your father and mother, and we owed it to them to make sure you were okay. Naruto wanted to be angry, but to see how they spoke about his father truly touched him. Thanks guys, and I'm glad you told me all this. Naruto admitted. It was truly a whirlwind, but these guys were his precious family, and nothing could change that. You're not upset? Genma said in shock, expecting him to at least be angry. Yeah, I'm upset, Uncle Genma. Some psycho used me to kill my mom and dad and destroy the village. But you guys were there for me, and thanks to you guys I can become a shinobi they'll be proud of. Naruto smiled. I see. Genma smiled. He was shocked that this went as well as it did, but he clearly didn't give Naruto as much credit as he should have. Just one thing, Naruto, Yugo said calmly. What's that, big sis? Naruto said cheekily. Big sis? Yugo wondered. Well, you were my mom's student, and from what I heard your teams are like your family, and that makes you my big sis. Naruto smiled before turning to Kakashi. It sounds like my dad acted like your dad also, Kakashi, so I guess you can be big bro. What about Itachi? Genma wondered. I can't call him big bro because Sasuke would get mad, so I guess he's just a family friend. Naruto smiled. Alright, Itachi chuckled, since Sasuke actually would get mad. Well, listen to your big sis when I say that you can't tell anybody about the fox because it's an S-rank secret. I would also recommend keeping your heritage a secret also because your father had plenty of enemies, especially from IWA, and your mother's clan was just as infamous. Yugao revealed. Naruto frowned for a bit. Can I tell Sasuke, Tenten, Hinata, and Yakumo since they're my friends? The quartet shared a look before nodding. You can tell them, but nobody else. Now get some sleep because you've had a long day. Genma smiled. Yeah, I have, Naruto admitted. This was insane and he had a lot of thinking to, but at least now he understood everything. The seal he saw was the fox's, and it was that very fox that reached out to him. Now it was time to return the favor. Scene skip. After the long night, Naruto decided that he would check out Kakashi's present before talking to the fox and getting some sleep. To his surprise, it was a book called Makeout Paradise, and after reading a few chapters, Naruto immediately realized why Kakashi kept it secret from the group. If Yugao saw what the book, she would freak, and none of them needed that. After gathering himself and recalling some interesting facts from his life, Naruto closed his eyes before focusing his chakra again, fully expecting the fox to reach out to him. When he felt a small pull, he went with it and found himself back the sewers. "You passed my test, boy. Well done." The fox smiled before revealing itself. "Thank you, but I'm curious what I should call you. Just saying nine-tailed fox is a bit weird," Naruto said bluntly. "For now, you may call me Kyubi, but I'm curious why you're not more afraid of me." "Because thanks to the seal our fates are connected. If something happens to me, you're in trouble also, and that means it's in your best interest to keep me alive," Naruto said with a bit of cockiness. "That's not true, brat. If you die, I'll return to my original state of pure chakra. It'll take me a while to reform, but I'll be fine." Naruto twitched, since that changed things. "Well, how about I make things better for you while you stay with me?" Naruto offered. The sewer was unpleasant to him, and he could only imagine how the fox felt. "And how will you do that?" "Because I realized that we're currently in my mindscape. The cage is my seal holding your power back, and these pipes connect my chakra to the rest of my system. So, what if I make your prison a bit nicer?" Naruto suggested. "Prove it," the fox challenged. Since this was his mindscape, Naruto took a moment to focus, and the sewer was changed into a large field. It was thanks to this that Naruto finally saw the titanic form of the fox. Orange fur and massive tails that no doubt struck fear into many. However, Naruto realized that he was safe. "How's that?" "Acceptable," the fox said smugly. "Very well, boy. I'll work with you so you can get stronger, but don't disappoint me. I do want to see that bastard suffer, and if you're going to get strong enough to stop him, you've got a long way to go." Yeah. Right now, I've got to get some rest. Today was a really long day," Naruto said nonchalantly before vanishing from what he now knew was his mindscape. He had a long way to go, but this was a good first step. Luckily for him, he had a perfect tool to get stronger. Scene skip. It's been a month since Naruto's birthday, and he couldn't be happier. A week after his birthday, he brought his friends over and told them about his newly discovered family, and he was worried about the girls' reactions. Their feelings were summed up by a quote by Hinata: "Knowing who your parents are doesn't change how we feel about you, Naruto. You've always been our friend, and you always will be no matter what." Despite her saying that, Naruto didn't tell them about the fox, but he promised himself that one day he would. His bond with his adopted family managed to grow also. Now that they could talk about his family freely, he heard many stories about his mother and father from their former students. From Yugao, he learned that his mother was known as the Red Hot Habanero because of her red hair and fiery temper. She also mentioned that he was glad that he didn't inherit his mother's temper, or it would have been a nightmare. Kakashi told him about his father, and he learned that the fourth was a genius who was actually better with seals than his mother despite her Uzumaki heritage. He also learned that the tracksuit he wore was identical to one his father wore as a kid, which is why Genma smiled so much when he got it. The only problem for Naruto was his relationship with Itachi. Ever since the night he learned the truth about his parents, Itachi spent less and less time with him. He asked Sasuke if everything was okay a few weeks ago, and Sasuke said that things seemed off between him and the clan, but also said that it was clan business. Naruto didn't like it, but he figured that Itachi would tell him if something was really wrong. "I don't get it. Why is he so distant?" Naruto muttered to himself as he relaxed on his bed. Almost as though to answer his concern, a person flashed into his room, and it was Itachi himself. He was dressed in all black with his sword on his back, which was surprising. "What's going on?" Naruto wondered nervously. "I'm about to go away for a long time, Naruto, and we may never see each other, but I wanted to deliver one last lesson," Itachi said solemnly. "Why are you going away?" Naruto wondered. "I can't say, but please Naruto, can you hear me out?" Naruto didn't like it, but he couldn't exactly refuse, of course, big brother Itachi. Itachi smiled for a moment before gathering himself. My final lesson is that the worst thing you can do as a shinobi is to let hatred or fear guide you. Ha? Naruto said in shock. After your father sealed the fox inside you, the third Hokage immediately took control again because the village needs stability. His first act was to gather the shinobi and civilian councils, and after revealing what happened to you made the knowledge an S-rank secret. But somebody leaked it, didn't they? Naruto frowned. A rare sigh appeared on Itachi's face. Yes, and that was the wrong thing to do. Most of the village doesn't understand seals under normal circumstances, and this was far from normal. People would always believe that as long as you existed there was always a chance the fox would return. The treatment you received at the orphanage was due to the caretaker acting on that fear, Itachi explained. How did you know about that? Naruto gasped. Itachi sighed because this was another sad truth. The fox's attack caused massive damage to the village and costs us many great shinobi. Because of that, high-level shinobi like us were forced into various roles to help the village get back on its feet and ensure that our enemies didn't target us. As a result, Lord Hokage believed, the best thing to do with you was to place you in an orphanage where at least you would be safe until the village stabilized. We didn't agree, but we were obligated to listen to our orders. That didn't stop us from watching over you, and we saw how you were treated, and it didn't sit well with us. Naruto's eye widened. That's another reason you guys decided to adopt me, isn't it? That's right. The four of us knew that the moment the caretaker could rid herself of you she would, and you'd be at the mercy of the villagers. I don't need to tell you how badly that would end. Naruto shuddered at that because he had plenty of trouble with the other kids, and he was pretty sure without the fox he would have died long before he made 6. If he was on the street and had to deal with actual shinobi who were traumatized, he was doomed. Yeah, I would have been a goner. That's right, and to ensure that didn't happen, we decided to work together to make the arrangement you have now. Naruto was glad to know that they cared about him that much, but that didn't explain why Itachi was doing what he was doing. That's nice to know, but what does that have to do with the lesson? Goodbye, Naruto, Itachi replied solemnly before vanishing via a shunshin. Scene skip. Naruto barely got any sleep due to staying up and thinking about what Itachi told him before finally getting to sleep early in the morning. As he made his way downstairs for breakfast, he could see Genma was awake, but he was surprised to see that Kakashi was also there, and they were both clearly upset about something. What happened, Uncle Genma? Naruto wondered. The two looked at each other before giving a nod of understanding. Last night Itachi slaughtered the entire Uchiha clan with the exception of Sasuke. He's currently missing, and Lord Hokage is going to declare him an S-rank missing shinobi in short order. Genma explained. Naruto was stunned by the news, especially since Itachi came to visit him just before doing it. You gotta be kidding me. Why would Itachi do that? Nobody knows. Kakashi replied, and although Naruto got the sense he was hiding something, he wasn't going to call him out on it. His focus was on something else. Where's Sasuke? I want to see him. Naruto frowned. He's currently in the hospital, but let's walk there because we have some stuff to discuss. Kakashi said with a stern glance. Okay, Naruto replied. Luckily for them, it was the start of the weekend, which meant no school. The pair moved in silence for a while as they navigated the village, and when they finally had a little area to themselves, Kakashi spoke up. What Itachi did is going to change everything, Naruto, and not in a good way. Kakashi said sternly. Yeah, I bet. Sasuke's clan is a big deal. Naruto replied. That's right. In addition to being one of the 2 clans that helped found the village, the Sharingan is an incredible tool, and with his clan gone, they need somebody who can teach him about the Sharingan to ensure that he becomes a pillar of the village. And by somebody, you mean you? Naruto said with understanding. Yes. I'm positive the third is going to ask me to become a sensei in the next few days because he wants me used to training students before you guys graduate. But you trained me? Naruto said in confusion. Having a team of genin is very different from training one person, which means I need you to do something for me. Kakashi said calmly. What's that? Naruto wondered. Fail. Huh? Naruto questioned. You and Sasuke are currently fighting to be the top 2 students, and typically the top student will be paired with the worst student and somebody else. Kakashi smiled knowing Naruto would get it. I got it. You want me to become the worst student so I can be paired with Sasuke? Correct. Kakashi beamed. Deal, Naruto said calmly. His pride at being top student was on the line, so it wasn't going to be an easy ask at first. However, Sasuke was his friend and he knew that if they were a team, he could help Sasuke out with anything. Good. Kakashi smiled as they finally arrived at the hospital. To their surprise, the ANBU were waiting in front of the hospital. I'm sorry you two, but I can't let you see Sasuke. Yugo said calmly, but this time she was in her ANBU mask. Kakashi frowned, but ultimately there was nothing he could do. Alright. But Naruto, we have to go, Kakashi said sternly. Naruto really didn't like it, but he understood that rules were rules. Fine, Naruto pouted and the two left. He would get his answers sooner or later. Scene skip. Sasuke was finally let out of the hospital 2 days later and Naruto went to see him after class was over to get some answers. You know, this is the first time I've seen the compound in person. Naruto smiled as he moved through the compound. He got the feeling somebody was watching, but considering that Sasuke was suddenly high-valued, Naruto realized it was the ANBU, and since they knew they were friends he doubted they'd be too concerned. Thanks to Sasuke telling him a while back, he knew which house was his home, and when he found it, Naruto used a sunbond to pick the lock and walk in. Arriving in the living room, he found Sasuke sitting there like a statue. He was dressed in his usual outfit, but he could tell the Sasuke from before was gone. Naruto, what are you doing here? Sasuke wondered as he turned towards his friend. To keep a long story short, I'm a clone and I came to see you. I take it you heard about what Itachi did? Sasuke said with clear anger in his voice. Yeah. I don't get it. Why would he do that? Naruto replied calmly, but it was difficult to hide his nerves. To test himself, Sasuke muttered with fury in his voice. Say what? Naruto exclaimed. He thought for sure he heard Sasuke wrong. That night, I found him after he slaughtered my parents. When I asked him why, he told me he did it to test his power. Naruto frowned because that made zero sense. He lied, Naruto said calmly. What did you say? Sasuke growled. Naruto knew he was playing a dangerous game, but like Itachi said, he couldn't let hatred consume Sasuke. Your brother is considered one of the greatest prodigies in the history of our village. A village that produced the Sannin and who had one Hokage known as the Professor and another Hokage who devastated Iwa during the Third Shinobi War. What's your point? Sasuke said with a bit less anger. Naruto was telling him this for a reason, and despite how furious he was, he calmed himself. That there's no way he would want to all of the sudden test his power. Naruto explained. Whatever reason he had, it had nothing to do with testing his power. So why did he kill everybody? Sasuke said with frustration in his voice. Sasuke was angry at his brother for killing everybody, but in his heart, he knew that his brother was lying. I don't know, but I do know one thing. The only way to find out is for both of us to get stronger and confront him. We know he's out there and sooner or later we'll see him again. Naruto beamed. Both of us are confused, Sasuke replied. Yeah. Itachi was like my big brother and you're my buddy, so let's get stronger and confront him down the road. Naruto insisted. Sasuke looked at him with pain in his eyes. He's too strong, Naruto? He wants me to get stronger, but there's no way I can beat him, Sasuke shouted with frustration in his voice. Yes, but I've got a plan. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to allow myself to become the dead last. Kakashi told me that the top student and the worst student are paired together, so if I do that, I'll be your teammate. That means we can work together and become strong enough to eventually confront him ourselves. But what about our third? Sasuke wondered. I don't know who it'll be, but I know that with you and me, we should be fine. Naruto smiled. Sasuke smiled as he turned towards Naruto. Alright. We'll worry about the third person later. Sasuke said happily, his bad mood over. Yeah. Now get some rest because you're going to need to be at your best starting Monday. Right? Sasuke smiled as Naruto's clone vanished with his job done. 4 years later. Today's finally the day, Naruto smiled as he approached the Shinobi Academy ready to begin his shinobi career. So, is today the day you finally stop playing the fool, huh? Yukumo smiled as she stood with Hinata and Tenten, with each girl wearing their favorite outfit, Hinata and her cream jacket, Yukumo and her pink kimono with red mesh, and Tenten with her pink blouse. When Naruto's grades dropped, the girls asked why, and he told them that he needed to become dead last to stay with Sasuke, and although they didn't like it, they ultimately understood but insisted that they train with him during the weekend so he didn't dull his talents. During the week, he was the academy's dead last. On the weekend, he was a dynamo with powerful jutsu and incredible kenjutsu skills. Admittedly, only Tenten and Yuga knew how skilled he was with the blade, and he never used his jutsu against the girls since it would be overkill and he wanted them to get more confident. Yeah, and hopefully with everything that's happened you'll pass yourself, Yukumo. Naruto smiled, not bothered by the joke. And I have you to thank for my ability to become a shinobi. Yukumo smirked as she put her hand on her stomach. A year ago, Yukumo's family withdrew her from the academy out of nowhere. When Naruto and Hinata went over to her house to find out why, they discovered the dangerous truth. Yukumo's ability with genjutsu was actually too powerful, and trying to control it was why her body was weakened. Since Naruto knew how much she wanted to be a shinobi, he decided to work on a seal that would help her better control her power. Although the clan questioned the idea when Naruto brought it up, Yukumo was okay with it since she, Hinata, Tenten and Sasuke knew how skilled he really was. After spending a week working on the seal with the help of Yugo and Kakashi, he managed to create a seal that regulated her power so she could continue her time at school. Enough nostalgia. You guys have to get going and I need to deal with Guy-sensei. Tenten groaned. Her teacher was a man named Mike Guy who shouted about youth, and he drove Tenten bonkers. See ya. Naruto smiled, kissing Tenten on the cheek as a means of good luck. After she was saved, Yukumo thanked Naruto by kissing him, and in doing so sparked a fire in Tenten and Hinata, who made their feelings for Naruto known soon after. Since then, the three girls competed for Naruto in a way similar to what Sasuke dealt with, but unlike with Sasuke, it was done in private due to the fact Hinata and Yukumo were heiresses and Naruto was an orphan. Now comes the fun part. Hinata frowned due to an interesting complication. Ironically enough, Yukumo staying at the academy complicated things rather nicely for Naruto's plans due to the way their class was composed. As clan heirs, Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, Shino, Keiba, Hinata, Yukumo and Sasuke were all guaranteed to pass, and Sakura Haruno, a Sasuke fangirl and the daughter of a member of the civilian council, was also likely to pass. That meant that even if Naruto passed, there was a good chance that the Hokage would have to choose between him or Sakura, and that would be disastrous. It's not my fault that most of the civilians suck. Yukumo frowned. The idea that her staying would ruin Naruto's plan really sucks. There's nothing we can do about it. Let's just see what happens, Naruto said calmly. It wasn't a good situation, but they had no choice in the matter. Whoever passed would pass and they would deal with the rest afterwards. Regardless, it was time at last for all three to take their final steps into the academy. Chapter 3: The Ways of a Shinobi. Shinobi Academy. Naruto walked into class with Hinata and Yukumo by his side with a smile on his face. He practically bathed in the stares of anger and jealousy coming from his classmates, and top of the list was Kiba Inuzuka, who was furious that Hinata was so attached to him. Get ready, Naruto. Hinata will see once and for all what a failure you are, Kiba said cockily. His current outfit consisted of a large gray hoodie with fur on the inside and dark gray pants. On top of his head was his Ninken Akamaru, a small white dog. Naruto was about to respond, but Yukumo beat him to it. You do realize that he's barely dead last, and despite all your talk of being top dog, you failed to win any of your spars against him. Yukumo smirked, causing Kiba to scowl. Kiba was about to respond, but he was interrupted by a surprising source. Will you three sit down? It's bad enough we have to deal with Sasuke's pair of fangirls. If you guys starting making a bunch of fuss, it'll be a real drag, Shikamaru groaned. Shikamaru's current outfit was a gray jacket with green edges with the Nara clan symbol on it with green mesh underneath it and brown pants. He had taken to wearing his clan's traditional earrings also. Right, Naruto acknowledged, since he agreed with that, and the three moved to their spots. Literally seconds after that, the two girls in question arrived. Come on, forehead, I got here first, Ino growled. Shut it, pig, I'm here. Sakura frowned. Ino's outfit was a purple high-collared blouse with matching apron skirt with bandages on her abs and legs and white arm warmers with blue sandals. Sakura wore a red cheapao dress with short sleeves and a zipper down the middle and green bike shorts with blue sandals of her own. "Here we go," Naruto groaned as he sent a glance of pity towards his old friend. Amongst his many fangirls, Ino and Sakura were at the top and their obsession drove him crazy. Sasuke's current outfit consisted of a navy blue short-sleeved shirt with a high collar, white shorts, and, for white arm warmers, the classic Uchiha crest was on his back. Before they could do anything, a familiar tone put them in their place. "Will you two shut up and sit down, or do we need a repeat of last week?" Yakumo shouted, causing both girls to freeze. Yakumo grew tired of the two girls' antics and put them in a genjutsu that had them believing they were Kiba's fangirls. They acted the same sloppy way they did to Sasuke and everyone laughed at them besides Kiba, who simply enjoyed the moment. The only reason they stopped was that an emboldened Ino moved to kiss Kiba and Yakumo decided that was enough and broke the genjutsu with her lips moments away from connecting. The scream that resulted was the stuff of legends, and to add to the girls' humiliation, Naruto recorded them and then convinced Irika to use the recording as a lesson on genjutsu. Needless to say, both girls learned not to test Yakumo's patience or to annoy Naruto and his group after that. "We'll be good," Sakura said hastily. "Yeah," Ino added, and they took their seats without any more problems. The whole class laughed as they recalled that day, including Sasuke, who was glad to see his fangirls finally calmed. Scene skip. The graduation exam was disgustingly simple. All you needed to do was successfully perform the substitution, replacement, and clone jutsus. Normally it would be child's play for Naruto to pass, but there was one thing, or rather one person, who had him on edge, and that was the second proctor for the exam, Mizuki. Mizuki had white shoulder-length hair and green eyes while wearing the typical flak jacket and head protector. From the moment he met the guy during his second year, he had a bad feeling about him, and it was an opinion shared by not only him but his three girls and Sasuke, who told him that Mizuki seemed off. Unlike Irika, Mizuki made it clear he was biased towards him and constantly got in his way. Admittedly, it helped with his plans on being dead last, but now it was time to pass and hopefully nothing went wrong. The girls had already gone with each easily passing, and everyone who he suspected would pass had done so, including Sasuke, who arrived, to small claps from his fangirls. Now it was Naruto's turn. "Naruto Uzumaki!" Irika shouted, and as he got up Yakumo looked at him with a smile. "This is for good luck." Yakumo smiled before kissing him on the lips, something they almost never did outside of the compound, catching Naruto and the rest of the class off guard since most correctly assumed he was with Hinata. As they clashed tongues, Naruto felt a bit of her chakra invade his body, and he knew instinctively what that meant. Because of her work with Kurenai and her recent power increase, Yakumo developed a technique which, when active, would block any genjutsu used on the person in question. If nothing happened, it would expire in around an hour, but if the blocker worked, Naruto would recognize it and be able to act. As he walked into the classroom, Naruto felt an odd sensation in his chakra network, but Yakumo's blocker quickly activated, taking care of the nuisance. The only person who could have casted genjutsu was Mizuki, and it was bad news. "Let's see, Mizuki used a genjutsu to mess up my chakra network, presumably to get me to fail. That means I've got two options on how to deal with it. Fail intentionally and see what Mizuki wants, or pass and pray Mizuki doesn't target somebody else," Naruto thought to himself. His musing was broken by Irika speaking up. "Alright Naruto, it's time for your graduation test. To start, I need you to do a replacement jutsu for me," Irika said calmly. "Right," Naruto replied before replacing himself with Irika and then moving back. "Good. Now a transformation," Irika said calmly. Naruto nodded before transforming into Irika and then back to himself. "Good, now the clone jutsu," Irika said calmly. "Alright," Naruto replied before making his clones. To the shock of Mizuki and the pleasure of Irika, Naruto made 3 perfect clones, choosing to do that instead of shadow clones, which would cause Mizuki to get cautious. Thankfully, his friendship with the fox helped him stabilize his network enough that he could do regular clones. "You passed, Naruto," Irika smiled warmly. "Thank you, Irika-sensei." Naruto smiled as he received his headband. As he walked back to the class, he could feel Mizuki's annoyance, and he knew the man would try something, but thankfully not to him. That left one question, so, who would he choose? Naruto thought to himself. Whoever Mizuki went after would have to be either stupid or impulsive, because without those things they wouldn't be swayed by what would surely be smooth words from Mizuki. Immediately two people came to mind. The first was Kiba Inuzuka, whose impulsivity was well known and ironically would be more eager to upstage him after what happened with Yakumo. The second was Sakura Haruno, who could be swayed by Mizuki if he used the right motivation. Regardless of who he chose, Mizuki would have to work fast, and that meant he'd need to work equally as fast in order to stop things from going wrong. Today was going to be a long day after all. Scene skip. Returning home, Naruto was pleased to see that Genma was waiting for him in the family room. "I take it you passed." Genma smiled. "Yes, but I need you to get a hold of Yugo ASAP." Naruto frowned. "How come?" Genma questioned. "Because she would be able to tell me what I need to know to stop a traitor," Naruto replied, and Genma looked at him in shock. "Give me a minute." Genma frowned before leaving via a shunshin. After a few minutes Genma returned, but not with Yugo. "Kakashi taught you how to shunshin, right?" Genma wondered. "Yeah. I practice a little bit when I'm bored at home," Naruto admitted. Kakashi finally taught him how to shunshin a year ago, and it took him a day to master with the help of his shadow clones, but that was a tough day indeed. "Then come with me to Lord Hokage's office." Since I didn't know where Yugo was, I had to ask him, and he's very interested in what you have to say, Genma admitted. "All right," Naruto replied quickly, and both vanished via a shunshin into the Hokage's office. To Naruto's admitted surprise, not only was Yugo here, but so was Ibiki Marino, the leader of TNI. As he looked towards the Hokage and saw his stern expression, it was clear that this was business tie. "Naruto, explain why you think we have a traitor and who you think it is?" the third requested in a calm voice. Naruto wasn't fooled by the calm tone and realized this was an order and one he had better follow. "Lord Hokage, I believe that my instructor Mizuki is a traitor. I can't explain why, but as long as I've known him, he seemed off in a dangerous way. However, I believe we have a more pressing matter to attend to if my concern is valid," Naruto admitted. "I don't think a boy that just graduated the academy should tell the Hokage that there's a more pressing matter than having an academy sensei being a traitor. Especially since it's on an instinct," Ibiki said coldly. Ibiki was an older man with two scars down the middle of his rugged face. His outfit consisted of gray high-collared button-up jacket with black pants and a small belt down the middle with a large black trench coat above it. He was an imposing figure, but Naruto wasn't intimidated thanks to being around the fox for so long. "What if I said that traitor may be planning to act against the village tonight using a student as a patsy?" Naruto explained, causing Ibiki's eyes to widen. "What makes you say that?" Ibiki scowled. Naruto turned towards Ibiki. "As Lord Hokage knows, today was the Genin exam for the academy and I was one of the participants. What Lord Hokage doesn't know is that just as I arrived, Mizuki cast a genjutsu on me that was designed to disrupt my chakra flow. I believe he was going to use it to intentionally make me fail." "Why would he want to make you fail, Naruto?" Yugo wondered. "Let me answer your question by asking you this: what's the most valuable thing in the village? Something a traitor would want to steal." Yugo frowned before looking towards the Hokage. "Naruto, that would be the forbidden scroll that's hidden in my office. It contains powerful jutsu that are only taught to the worthiest of shinobi. Interestingly enough, the shadow clone jutsu I know you use at times is one of them," the third revealed. Naruto smiled because it confirmed his thought. "I believe Mizuki wanted to use me to steal the scroll for him. Your fondness for me is well known among the ANBU given what you did for me, so they might not think too much of me coming in. I also possess enough stealth to steal the scroll without anybody being the wiser if simply walking in wouldn't work and Mizuki was counting on it." "That's a bold statement, boy," Ibiki said coldly. "Yes, it is, but here's the problem. Mizuki still plans to steal it, but I suspect he's going to use another student to do it. I have two people in mind, but I don't know which one he'll target, so instead I tried to figure out what he would target, hence why I asked for Nico." "Two?" Genma said with admitted surprise. "Yes. Kiba Inuzuka and Sakura Haruno," Naruto admitted. "Naruto, those two passed the exam. Why would he target them and not one of the people who failed?" The third wondered. Kiba has hated me since our first year at the academy. I always beat him in spars our first year and I was close Hinata who he fancied from the start. When I intentionally dropped my grades, he took it as a sign his earlier losses were flukes and never stopped acting on it and tried to prove himself. Unfortunately for him, Hinata and Yakumo still hung around me, and since they're the most reasonable of our upcoming kunoichi, he was pissed. Intentionally? Don't tell me you've suspected Mizuki for that long? Ibiki wondered. No. My reason for being last was a separate matter, but ironically it's connected to the reason for him to target Sakura. And that is? Ibiki scowled, not liking the mind games. Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto smiled. A frown appeared on the third's face since he quickly realized what Naruto was after. Kakashi told you that traditionally the best student is paired with the worst student, and that's why your grades began to tank, is it not? The third scowled. Their friendship was also well known, and the best way to ensure they went on the same team was this one. That's right. I promised him that I would help him confront Itachi someday, and I can't do that if we're on different teams. As for Sakura, she's a Sasuke fangirl, but her greatest competition is Ino, and frankly she doesn't compare to her at all. And why do you say that? Yugao chuckled. She agreed completely, but she was curious what Naruto's reasoning was. Most of the girls believe that as the last of the Uchiha he'll want to rebuild the clan and that he would need a strong shinobi to do that. Sakura may be the smartest student outside of me and Shikamaru, but she has zero talent for anything outside of the most basic jutsu. Ino is a clan heiress, which means she already has the clout to give Sasuke what he needs, along with some added strength which would force Sakura to do something to even the odds. Mizuki would get Sakura to steal the scroll for him, saying that it would impress Sasuke if you showed off a powerful jutsu that a civilian wouldn't normally learn. Yugao finished. That's right. However, I think he's more likely to get Kiba to do it because Sakura wouldn't fall for such a ruse. Kiba meanwhile is pretty stupid and impulsive. The third and Ibiki shared a glance, so let's say you're right. What's to stop us from arresting Mizuki now? Ibiki challenged. Because the only evidence you have is the word of a genin. You wouldn't dare use that, and he's not stupid enough to leave evidence lying around at home. Naruto smiled. Well said, boy. Ibiki replied, clearly liking his answer and deciding to go along. So, how would you catch our traitor, since that's clearly what you were planning to do? Naruto smiled, since this was a good chance. Here's what I'd do, Naruto said calmly before whispering his plan. It was cruel, but if Naruto was right, it would all work itself out. Scene skip. Naruto relaxed in his room while he waited for the results of his plan. Naruto suggested replacing the scroll with one of his shadow clones with instructions written inside. Essentially, he was going to tell whoever stole the scroll that it was fake and Mizuki was going to betray them, which would allow them to escape. He didn't like either person, but Mizuki would surely kill them, or in Sakura's case do much worse, and he didn't want that for either of them. Naruto, it looks like you were right. It was Kiba who stole the scroll. They're on the hunt for him as we speak, and Lord Hokage has given us the permission to join the search, Genma revealed. All right. Naruto smiled as he reached under his bed and pulled out a red case with the Uzumaki swirl on it. The case contained the katana Naruto bought back when his training began, but he never used it outside of training, and now was his chance. You're actually going to use it? Genma said with admitted shock. Yeah. I've been hiding my skills, but not anymore. Let's show Mizuki who's boss, Naruto said happily as he retrieved his blade at last and grabbed the black baldric that came with it and slipped it on his shoulder. There we go. It's a shame you want to be a shinobi because you'd make a fine ANBU. Genma said with pride. I'm the son of the fourth Hokage and Kushina Uzumaki. Living in the shadows just isn't my thing. Naruto smiled and slipped his blade onto his back. Let's go, Genma smiled. Naruto had come a long way since his training began, and soon, he would be a ninja, but first he had to catch a traitor. Yeah, and I think I know where to start. Where, Genma wondered. The forests. Kiba would want a place to take the scroll and learn the techniques. Naruto said calmly. Can you go there via Shunshin? Genma wondered. Not yet. I'll work on it later, but we have to move on foot for now," Naruto replied. "Well, let's go," Ganma shouted, and the pair got moving. Scene skip. As they moved towards the forest, something occurred to Naruto. Does Kiba's mom know about what happened? Their clan are trackers, so finding Kiba should be easy, Naruto said calmly. Ganma smiled. Normally you're right, and if we had no warning, they'd be among the first people we called. However, since we knew about what was going to happen, we didn't need to worry. Lord Hokage has ANBU stationed at the edge of the village for Mizuki, but we figured Kiba would be okay, Ganma replied. Naruto nodded his approval, but the shadow clone he used as the fake scroll dispelled and the memories were not good. Shit, we need to move now, Naruto yelled out. What happened? Ganma said nervously. The dumbass read our message but ignored it and confronted Mizuki, Naruto panicked. That fool, Ganma frowned, and the pair sped up. Kiba stood no chance against Mizuki, which meant this would end badly for him. The pair hurried towards the forest, moving as quickly as they could, and arrived within a few minutes. What they saw was Mizuki standing a few feet away from a battered Kiba who was in deep trouble. He had cuts and bruises all over his body and he was bleeding badly. If he didn't get medical attention soon, he was dead. Luckily or unluckily for him, he was without his dog, which certainly bothered Naruto more than he cared to admit. What now? Mizuki frowned as he looked up to find Naruto and Ganma. Kiba did too, and he couldn't help but groan. Naruto, Kiba said weakly. Oof. I guess this mutt was good for something after all, Mizuki said smugly. He was after Naruto after all, and here he was on a silver platter. Naruto and Ganma frowned before hopping down to confront him. So I guess I'm taking Kiba to get medical attention, Ganma sighed before picking up a battered Kiba. Yeah. Mizuki wants me and he's gonna get me, Naruto said with a smug smile of his own. He owed Mizuki a beatdown and it's going to be special. All right. I'll try to get back as soon as possible. Ganma smiled before vanishing via a shunshin. Got it, Naruto replied as he focused on Mizuki. He wasn't sure if he wanted to use his blade or not, but he was ready to deal with the rogue Chunin. The smug look on Mizuki's didn't bother Naruto, and if anything, he was pleased to see that he was underestimated. A ninja's best tool was deception after all, and nobody did deception better than Naruto. Oh, Naruto, you should have kept Ganma with you. Maybe then you would have had a chance. Mizuki smiled as he jumped at Naruto, ready to punch him square in the gut. When his shot connected, a sickening grin appeared on his face. A grin that faded when Naruto vanished, and a puddle of water appeared, causing Mizuki's eyes to widen. Water clones. This bastard couldn't do regular clones for ages? You should pay more attention, Mizuki. Look at my back. Naruto smiled. Mizuki didn't know what he was talking about, but when he noticed the blade on his back he scowled. So you have a blade now? Ha, is that supposed to scare me? No, but what it implies should. Tell me something, Mizuki, have you ever wondered why the class is so annoyed with me? Naruto smiled. What sort of question is that? They're angry because such a pathetic ninja is in their midst. Mizuki taunted, hoping to get Naruto to drop his guard. Naruto reached back and pulled out his blade. Actually, it's the opposite, sensei. Naruto smirked before vanishing in a burst of incredible speed. Before Mizuki could react, Naruto was behind him with his blade at the back of the Chunin. What? The Mizuki gasped, wondering what was going on. My classmates were angry because most of them knew how skilled I really was. You see, in my first year at the academy I was the top student, but out of nowhere my grades fell. Most of my classmates were furious because they knew something was off. The only ones who didn't are that mutt Kiba and possibly Sasuke's fangirls. Everyone else knew how strong I was, and that's why they were pissed. Naruto smiled. So what? That doesn't mean you can beat me. Mizuki smiled, using the small opening to back up. You're right, that doesn't. Naruto smiled before putting his hands in front of him in a familiar cross-shaped hand sign. That's Mizuki gasped. Naruto simply smiled before saying, Shadow Clone Jutsu, and Mizuki could only watch in terror as 100 Narutos appeared to surround him in a circle. Shadow clones? How did a monster like you learn that technique? I was taught it when I was 8. That monster, as you so kindly put it, was actually pretty helpful once we agreed on something. So, I trained in secret and pretended to be a novice at class. The real Naruto smiled with the clones behind him waiting to strike. Mizuki's eyes widened in disbelief. Naruto knew about the fox and that meant he was in trouble. Reaching behind his back, he grabbed the massive shuriken that was on his back and tossed it at the real Naruto. Die! Mizuki shouted in a last-ditch effort to save himself. Worthless! Naruto frowned as wind chakra gathered around his blade. Mizuki could only watch in horror as his shuriken was cut in half by the real Naruto's blade without any effort at all. Impossible. You can enhance it with your chakra. That's right. I can do many things with this blade, but it's not going to be what kills you. The real Naruto smiled as 10 of the clones began making hand signs. We are, the clones shouted as they all took a deep breath. Wind-style, air bullets, before 10 of the clones sent a small sphere of air towards the traitor. If it was one bullet that would be one thing, but there were 10 bullets and they were coming in fast. No! Mizuki yelled as the bullets slammed into him one after another. Because of the way they were lined up, he couldn't find anything to replace himself with, and since only 10 of the clones had attacked, the others would be able to find him the minute he substituted himself. Put simply, Mizuki was doomed. Luckily for him, as a traitor he held valuable information on who sent him, so he would be spared execution. True, he was currently in agony as the bullets struck, but Naruto couldn't kill him and the young man knew it. As Mizuki fell to the ground, Naruto couldn't help but frown as the clones behind him dispelled with their task done. That was too easy. What do you think, Nico? Naruto smiled as Yugo arrived at the scene. It was, but you also caught him off guard with your real skills. Excellent use of clones, by the way. Yugo praised. Most people would have attacked at once, but with a layered attack he left Mizuki 0 openings. Thanks. I take it you're going to deal with our traitorous friend here. Naruto replied, pointing to a bloodied Mizuki. That's right. You'll need to talk to Lord Hokage about what happened, but I can convince him to let you do it tomorrow morning. That's surprisingly generous. Naruto said with a raised eyebrow. Well, I've got it on good authority that you have a graduation present waiting for you at home. Good point, Naruto said with a slight blush. Now get out of here, mister, before I change my mind. Yugo snickered. Got it, Naruto replied before leaving via a shunshin. Scene skip. The next morning, Naruto and Yugo made their way to the Hokage's office in order to discuss what happened. So Naruto, did you enjoy your graduation present? Yugo teased as they walked up to the Hokage's office. Yes, I did, big sis Yugo. Naruto replied with a roll of his eyes. How Yugo knew about his present he didn't know, but it didn't matter now. Good, but now we get down to business. Yugo frowned as they arrived at the office. ANBU Nico coming in. Yugo stated before placing her mask on. Walking in, they were met by the third Hokage, whose serious expression was hard to ignore. So, Naruto, how are you doing? The third asked. Just fine. I'm just glad that I was able to help my village. Naruto replied diplomatically. The fact that Kiba was the one who betrayed the village suited Naruto perfectly since he hated the mutt. That's good, but you did far more for the village than you realized. Despite your issues with him, which were revealed to me by Irika, you still helped Kiba, and had you arrived a few minutes later, he would be dead. The fact you took out Mizuki by yourself is also to be commended. Thank you, Lord Hokage, Naruto said politely. For your efforts you will get an S-rank mission put on your docket and you will receive S-rank pay deposited into your account. Awesome, Naruto said happily, but something else occurred to him. Does what happened with Kiba affect the ninja teams? Naruto wondered. Most likely. I'm going to meet with the council after this to discuss that very issue. Believe me when I say I'm not looking forward to it. I see, Naruto replied with a nervous expression on his face. If you're worried about Yakumo, don't be. The Inuzuka clan values loyalty above anybody in the village, and considering that Kiba committed treason, there's a good chance that his mother will make what Mizuki did look like amateur work. I see, Naruto said with a reserved smile. Now get going. I'm sure you want to enjoy the next few days because after this your shinobi career arrives. Yugo said through her mask. Right? Naruto replied before leaving via a shunshin to the surprise of the Hokage. He is something special, isn't he? The third smiled. Yes, he is, and he would never have become that if you didn't agree to letting Genma adopt him. Yugo beamed. Uzumaki compound? I can't tell if we were lucky or unlucky that Kiba was such a moron. Hinata smiled as she sat with Yakumo observing Sasuke and Naruto spar. 2 days had passed since Mizuki's betrayal, and thanks to their connections Yakumo, Hinata and Sasuke were told the fallout. Mizuki's fate aside, Kiba was taken off the roster of potential genin and ordered to be retrained by his mother, so he learned respect for the pack. I think it's lucky personally. With him out of the picture we have 9 candidates, which means I'll have a team. Plus, we have an extra day to relax. Yakumo smirked. Yes, you have a team, but unfortunately, it won't be with Naruto. Hinata frowned. She knew that Kurenai would be her teacher and Naruto was destined for a separate team with Sasuke, and since there was only one spot left the role was more than likely to go to Sakura Haruno, one of Sasuke's annoying fangirls. Look on the bright side. We can visit him anytime we want. Yakumo replied. The fact they could visit him whenever was a beautiful thing, and it was why she wasn't that upset at Hinata's statement. What are you guys talking about? Sasuke wondered as he walked towards the girls. He and Naruto stopped moments ago, and he noticed the 2 girls discussing something and couldn't help but wonder. How his promise to you is making it impossible for us to be with Naruto. Hinata teased. Hey, at least all of us are going to be on teams. Naruto mused. Yes, but we're probably stuck with Sakura. Sasuke frowned. I would have thought after watching us be lovey-dovey all the time, you'd appreciate having a fangirl on your team. Yakumo smirked, emphasizing her point by walking over and kissing Naruto on the cheek. I guess, but Sakura can't do anything ninja-wise. She's smart, but in a fight she's relatively useless as she is now. Ino would have been the better choice. Sasuke frowned. Not at all. Ino's main jutsu doesn't work unless the opponent isn't moving, and if it misses, she's a corpse for a while. She's better with Shika and his shadow possession jutsu. Naruto reminded him. Good point. Sasuke groaned. Well, it doesn't matter now. You guys will be with Kakashi, who already knows most of your strengths, so he can focus on getting Sakura up to speed. Yakumo mused. True. I guess we could ask Kurenai to help Sakura get a few genjutsu under her belt on the side also. Naruto smiled. Getting help from others is one of our group's specialties. Hinata smiled. Their little group all had issues growing up, and none of them wouldn't have survived without the help of Naruto's teachers, who didn't mind helping since they were friends of Naruto. Hinata had major confidence issues, and talking with Yugo helped her get rid of them alone. Yakumo was nervous that she would be the one left out because for the longest time she wasn't in shinobi shape due to issues with her powers. After Naruto helped cure her issues, Kakashi and Genma helped her come up with a training program which got her in shape, and Yuga talked to her friend Anko and TNI about getting an apprenticeship so she could keep up her training even if she didn't get into a team. Sasuke had nightmares for a few months after the massacre, and when Naruto noticed how much trouble it was giving him, he convinced Genma to let him stay over once a week and convinced the 2 former members of Team Ro to talk to him about the good parts of her brother, something they did without hesitation. It helped calm Sasuke's nerves, and it drove him to find out why his brother did what he did. Yeah, but that's enough reminiscing. I say we go inside and relax. Naruto smiled. In other words, Naruto wants to cuddle for a bit. Yakumo said with a smile that said she knew something Sasuke didn't know. Guilty as charged. One of the many benefits of having sane fangirls. Naruto shrugged. Rub it in, why don't you? Sasuke pouted and the group laughed. What they didn't realize was that Kakashi, Yuga and Genma were watching. It's hard to believe that group is the strongest set of shinobi we've had since the Sannin. Kakashi said happily. Yes, but this is where it gets serious. Now that they're ninja, they'll have to learn about the real world. Yugo frowned. Yeah, but at least they get to be kids for a bit. We didn't have that luxury. Kakashi sighed. He could appreciate Naruto and his friends enjoying themselves, but they'd have to learn the harsh truth sooner or later. Ganma turned towards Yuga with a curious expression. So did you talk to Kurenai about the two teams possibly hanging out together? Yes, I did. She agrees with it, and I think with Kiba out of the picture it'll be much easier. Shame the girls will have to control themselves. Yugo sighed. What do you mean by that? Kakashi wondered. A few weeks ago, Hinata found that copy of Ika Ika you gave to Naruto and asked me for advice? Yugo said with a scowl. Did she now? Kakashi said nervously. She asked me what I should do, and I said talk to Naruto. I think she has because she's been a bit bolder recently. Yugo smiled. More than you realize. Ganma smiled. What do you mean? Kakashi and Yugo said nervously. The last 3 days I noticed none of the girls used a guest room and Naruto washed his sheets each night before he went out for training. Ganma smiled. Do you think they're? Yugo panicked. No, they're not having sex. I do suspect they're doing everything else though. Ganma chuckled. Oh crap, Kakashi said nervously. If Kurenai found out, he was in trouble. Don't worry, I made sure Hinata knew to come to me for any other advice on the subject. Phew, Kakashi smiled. Anyway, I need to make lunch since they're sure to be hungry. And I've got to get back to work. Yuga smiled before vanishing with a shunshin. I'm going to go train for a bit. Naruto and Sasuke are going to keep me on my toes. Kakashi smiled and the group went their separate ways. The kids were no longer kids and now the real fun was about to begin. Thank you for watching this video.